All right. Hello, welcome to the Eviction Cast. I am your host, L, with our co hosts, Taron and Drexium. You guys like to introduce yourselves?
It's pronounced Taron. L.
Taryn, sorry.
Yeah, you gotta give it a program. Um, my name is Taron. If you're old, you probably know me. Uh, I was a eviction player back like around the start of V7, like the first year or so. I was the first player to get plus stadium rank on Serpulo, and also the first player to get plus stadium rank on both planets. So I don't know. People value my opinion more than they probably should. I'll be real.
And I'm Drexium. I've always been sort of the lore keeper of Evict. I've always followed Erekir lore very closely, the developments and history. I'm also the third surge on Erekir. Pretty crap with Serpulo Evict, but decent with Serpulo ranked as well.
In other words, he's a nerd.
Yeah. I myself, I do not play Erekir at all. I've only done Serpulo stuff.
He is the best among us for sure.
Yeah, you guys don't play at the moment. Of course, I barely play.
Oh, I was
above you.
referring to more you haven't been tainted by the red planet, but that too, I guess.
Yeah, that works.
I did try to play a game the other night, and I kind of got like stomped on. It was bad.
You're playing against the current #1 player. Of course, you're gonna get stomped.
Yeah, but I didn't think it'd be that much of a slaughter. Shit's come a long way since my time. I'll be real. I'm all washed up.
I heard BBB was involved.
Yeah, it was. It was. He made a beeline for my base with his flares and then set up a pyrite swarmer at the border of my power hex. And there
Ooh.
wasn't really much I could do. He said, I don't remember the exact quote, but he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I have to do this." I don't think he had to do anything. I think he was just giving me a hard time.
I
But
think that was the top 10 anime
it's
betrayal.
oh, something like that. I feel like every time I hop on like the server to like go and chat, people like if I ever play a game, it's like sightings of like Moby Dick. You know what I mean? Like holy shit.
It's
Aaron's here. He's
him.
playing a game. I gotta go jump that guy right now. So I don't remember the last time I had a good game, but it is what it is.
The PTSD of playing against you still exists.
Yep. People, they still talk about me, man. I would have gone pro if I didn't, tear my ACL or whatever.
Got arthritis in the
Whatever.
fingers.
Yeah, I got carpool tunnel syndrome. That's definitely what it's called. Don't correct me.
Oh god, I never.
Okay. L, do you want to introduce our topics for today so I don't go off on another tangent for the next half hour?
Right, our first topic for this is more so about our own personal histories with the server. So I'll start off with myself here. That I, I first started playing Ministry in V5. At the time, I only played campaign. I didn't do that much in multiplayer. After some time later, V7, saw a lot of Fedicus videos. Was pretty interested in the game mode, so I decided to start playing. It was around the time Taron is top 1, not that active, so it took me a little while to become more of a good player there.
Yeah, that was kind of a dead point, really. Like around the time that I hit top 1 was the I'd say kind of like almost the dark ages of V7. Like
Yeah,
claiming that spot kind of kicked things back into gear because everyone was sitting at titanium for a while there. Like, it's
there
hard
were
to.
not many active players. The main person I played against was Duck 5460. It was
Yo,
about
Duck,
even,
bro.
yeah, about even in skill with them. So
Yeah,
they made
Duck.
for a good rival, but they didn't last too long.
Duck was my main man back in the day. I remember I used to like pester him in Discord to like get on so I could get progress. But anyways, please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt the story.
Yeah, I kept playing. My initial goal with playing was just become like one of the top 5 players. And after a good amount of time, since there weren't that many active players, most of the time it was just copper or scraps, I was able to become one of the first class players, and I don't remember the exact number. It was like third or fifth surge player. It was like behind Povernick and someone else. But after that, I didn't really play as active top play. Around that same time, RZ started playing. Played against them for a little while, but kind of just lost interest over time. I've just been more in the background, playing occasionally, exploring different play styles, making some schematics. But that's about it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll go then. So I also started in V5. I knew some kids from school and they were like, "Hey, you should come play this game with us at lunch." And we were Tar Pits gamers. I didn't really do too much for the team or anything like PvP related. Like, didn't even think about it. But all I remember doing was spamming Drog miner drones and draining my team's power, much to the dismay of my classmates. It was great. They all hate me now. So, anyways, I stopped playing for a while. Played a little bit in V6 on like a trip because I was bored, and I was like, "Wow, dude, this game sure came a long way since the last update." And eventually, I kind of started getting into some like YouTube content regarding the thing. You know, some of Lara's videos, start of V7, like old V6 videos of people using like the command centers and stuff was really interesting. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's. I could totally do that. Let's go play that." So, you know, I went and got the game on my computer, and I'm like, shit. Oh my god. Okay, funny story. When I first started playing this game, my industry costs like $6 on Steam, and I was broke as shit. So I'm like, okay, well the mobile version is free. So I went onto like BlueStacks, and I got the mobile version of the game on an emulator on my computer and tried playing that. So the first Taron account, there were 3 at the very beginning. The first one was a BlueStacks account that that didn't do too well because the controls were all messed up. And then I made a second one on BlueStacks after I lost the first one into like an update or something. And then after that, I finally made the main account that I kind of went forward on. So I started playing around the start of V7, just when people were kind of figuring out how things worked. Like we were still trying to build like forts and shit, and it was like a whole new world having like RTS controls and everything. And you know, probably one of the best times to get into the game, I'd say, because everyone was basically on like an equal playing field. Like, yeah, you know, more experienced players had like the APM and stuff, but I mean, it was the meta was all up in the air. The strategy it was nothing unlike anything you'd ever seen. So, you know, I started playing with a bunch of these people who we don't really see around anymore. These old names like I mean, Green, this guy Orange, Soft, my friend Resonance, a bunch of other people, and you know, kind of started climbing the ranks. You know, through Copper, through Lead. I was there when the whole autofill fiasco was going on, where you get a bunch of Russian players who would go and use a Foo's client or whatever to autofill swarmers, just like spam them out, and then just like, oh well, there goes your attack. So we were there for that, and you know, seeing Fenguin, now known as Eris's rise to kind of prominence and everything. You know, Pobornik used to play a little bit back then. But yeah, so we kind of climbed the ranks. You know, I built up a bit of a feud with Laro. Like we'd play a lot, and you know, sometimes I'd win, sometimes he'd win. He'd only post the recordings where he won. Still haven't forgiven him for that. But anyways, so we played through there, played through kind of like mid V7, right around the first year of V7, we were really kind of big. You know, hit not plat, titanium. Sorry, I was playing League earlier. I hit plat in League yesterday. Humble brag. But so yeah, we hit titanium with a bunch of other players, and this was kind of like when the meta was starting to like bare bones form itself. Like we were getting like these big like swarmer pillars and stuff. Like people used to use cyclones and shit. And I like beginning to understand like, okay, swarmer is water, etc., etc. All these kind of really, really basic concepts that took us like months to figure out. Like we were washed up. So, anyways, played for a while. Kind of mastered my craft. I was really known as like a very like aggressive player, like kind of like a rush down kind of deal. Like at the time, I had like 14-minute zeniths, which was pretty good at the time. It's kind of terrible nowadays, but it was good at the time. All right, it was good at the time. And eventually the game kind of died out a little bit. Like people were playing on Erekir more and kind of figuring out what's going on. And so Serp was really dead, like what I was saying. Wasn't really too many people around. Lots of Titanium players, but no one really played. Eventually, after like months and months and months of like grinding, like every single night trying to get matches, we finally made it to Plastanium. Also, I forgot to mention Densha. Shout out Densha for being like my first like rival that wasn't Laro. Him and I had some crazy matches. But anyways, so we made it to Plastanium, first Plastanium player on Serpulo. I think it was like summer of 2023. We hit it there, and then a little bit afterwards, I started playing Erekir because I had like ran into Drex on the fish attack server or something, and he recognized me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're this Evict player." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure, cool." And then we ended up, talking whatever. And he dragged me, kicking and screaming, to Erekir, where I proceeded to get dicked on by Sire over and over and over until I eventually figured it out and hit Plastanium on there too. Like I said before, first player to hit Plastanium both planets. I know, very impressive. Save your applause. But yeah, after that, I went off to college and stopped really playing so much. And now we're here, and I'm all washed up, and I get shit on every game.
Yeah, man, I can barely remember bringing you into Erica. Was it really me?
Yeah, it was, man.
Oh,
Because
damn.
I was like, I had gotten bored of Serpulo, right? Because I was the first Plast, and there was no one else to fight. Like it was still pretty dead, and people weren't trying to like climb up yet, or they were fighting other Titaniums or whatever. So I had been playing on the fish attack server. We were playing Waterline. Shout out Waterline.
Oh,
Is that shit on fish now, or have they still yet to like bring it back?
Waterline's
If it's
been
not on
removed,
there,
Frontline's been removed, Hotline was removed as well, and Skyline will never be added.
yeah, I never finished that map. That's like the very bottom of the Mindustry iceberg, the Taron line map.
Yeah, like
But
two
yeah,
people know
they
that.
gotta get on that. Let it be known, let the world know that Waterline is Taron's favorite attack map. They need to bring it back onto Fish. But anyways, that's where I met Drex, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I recognize you," and he was like, "You should come play Erekir," and I was like, "What the fuck? Why? That's weird." And he was like, "Trust me, bro, it's fun." And I was like, "Okay." So yeah, you were the one that got me into it. It was very cool of you.
Well, I guess it's
And
my
of course, the
turn.
person with the fish profile picture likes a water map on fish.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I don't know, I like boats, man. There's many different types of boats. We got like sailboats,
Can you
ferry
name?
boats.
Can you name all 10 industry boats?
Can I name all 10? Shit.
Can you name
Oh,
2 of them?
Oh,
Can I
two's
name
easy.
2 of them? Okay. Navinax and the Omura. There's like that's 2 of them. There's the
Okay.
Aegis.
Here, I'll do it, Taron. Risso, Minky, Bride, Say, Amura, and then you have Ratusa, Oxynos, Sias, Aegeres, Navinax.
Okay, I knew that.
As Taron can tell you, I did that without pulling up the core database. And that is a segue into who I am. I'm one of the industry's largest nerds. I've nearly memorized the core database, the majority of blocks I can tell you the build cost of or the production rates of, and I've learned that through hours upon hours of Erica mainly. I started very early on actually in V6 and played probably close to 1,000 hours on a mobile phone, just only doing a modded campaign. Then a few years later I came back to the game at the start of E7 through Laro's videos mainly. At first, I planned on playing Serp, but then I found Erekir and just fell in love nearly straight away. At the same time, though, I started playtesting a lot of maps for the Fish server as well. I was pretty active on there on top of playing Erekir. Pretty quickly, in 3 months, I was already top 3 on Erekir, regularly beating Yizm, still yet to beat Sire once. I've beaten twice now to this day. He's still by far the best player I'll ever see.
I beat Sire.
I was
I
the
beat him 1v1 once.
third classed and third surge on Erekir. To this day, I still am one of the best Erekir players, especially during my prime. I followed the lore. As Tara mentioned earlier, I brought him in, and I'm the one who helped raise players like Oof, Olpence, Cripple Child,
He's got an eye for talent.
Adent, a lot of other players as well can date their history back to me.
I remember on that topic when Olpence first started playing the game. I remember you like typing in the Discord. You were like, "Yeah, this Olpence guy is going somewhere, bro."
Yes, I famous or infamous or a little known fact is I predicted Olpence's rise to success after one game with him. I said in the Discord,
He did.
this guy will one day be top 3, is what I said. And within half a year, he was top 3 and has not fallen off. If you were still playing, that is. Sadly, he's left the game a while back, or at least stopped being as active.
Well, he probably played like hundreds of matches.
Oh yeah, he was one of the most active players for a while.
And he was always online, man, like Serpulo and Erekir.
Yeah, similar to like me during peak activity.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, like, my whole thing ministering is I know the vast majority of facts and stuff. I know a lot of the Erekir lore. Yeah, that's where I've come from. That's where I am today, still. Fish's biggest playtester, despite not playtesting a map in about a year.
Honey, it's 4 p.m. It's time for you to play test a fish map.
You know
Yeah,
how many fish maps you've playtested?
okay, if we disclude maps where I've had to do multiple versions, it's probably about 40 to 50. One map specifically, I playtested over 20 different times individually, and then proceeded to play a total of about 50 times because I speedran it for a while.
Wasn't that a Acheron or whatever?
No, that was Wolfram. Archeron is the hardest Erekir map I've personally ever played, and I still have yet to ever beat it. And people have beaten it solo, but with cheats and stuff, or certain types of cheats. I don't enjoy the map personally.
You ended up beating Pinnacle Retreat, didn't you?
Yes, I was the very first player to beat Pinnacle Retreat after it received its final update, in fact.
For those of you that don't know, Pinnacle Retreat was a Erekir challenge map made by Larafeticus.
And it was
a couple of years back.
Yeah, it was easily one of the hardest maps at the time, especially for it being a no world proc and still possible. It's definitely one of my favorite maps that I've beaten. Some of my other favorites was a Gigafort completion I did recently with another group. In fact, it was one of the smallest groups ever to complete Gigafort, especially without cheats. So yeah, I'm pretty well versed in mapping. A lot of people on Fish love me, and yeah.
Humble brag.
Yeah, I'm at one point I was Fish's most popular player. So, do we want to move on to our next topic now, which is balance?
Yeah, the balance in its current state is kind of okay. There's a good amount of units that should be rebalanced by a good amount. Like Horizons are just worthless. Their targeting just does not work. Like in their current state, they only have one niche, and that is countering Atraxes, but they can only target one thing at a time. So if the other player amasses a good amount of them, the horizons just do nothing. Like there's a good amount of other things like in the current version, like surge swarmers, scatters, just defense being really strong in Serpulo.
I don't think it's surge swarmers that are OP. I think it's just the like the water, the status effect.
Which I believe is being toned down at V8, correct?
Yes, that is.
Well, that's probably a good thing because that's pretty busted.
Yeah.
You know what isn't busted? You know what turret is perfectly balanced?
What
And
is it?
Drex knows what I'm about to say. It's the Afflict. Don't change the Afflict.
Yeah.
It is the only way that I can win Erekir matches. I need them to not touch it, my beloved.
During some of Taron's days, he used to be known as the Afflict guy on Evict, and those who are uneducated, Afflict was basically if you took Surge Trauma and combined it with a Meltdown. And
Perfectly
then
balanced.
And then multiplied it by 10.
Perfectly balanced.
It was
But no,
ridiculous.
if the sarcasm isn't obvious, no, the Afflict is busted, broken, OP. But
Yep.
I think that they're changing it in V8, aren't they?
Yes, they've greatly reduced the PS of the projectiles, as far as I'm aware, and that's resulted in it getting a significant DPS nerf, which is really nice to see.
So it's going to be reduced pierce by projectiles. That means that it's going to still be as effective against single targets, but lose damage against groups.
Which has always been its best trait, how it could just shred groups of Chloroi and Locust and averts, like, it's losing a little bit of that oomph, and especially with the introduction of the new Titan ammo types, specifically Oxide with its crazy AoE, it's a very big competitor for Afflict for crowd control.
Yep, that's good, because, generally on Erekir when you're playing, there were like 3 main turrets you'd be using it to defend against, ground armies, which is what was mostly what you were up against, unless you're up against some weirdo Quell player or whatever.
Guilty as charged.
You have your Titans, your Afflicts, and your Lusters. The Afflicts kind of stood as like a middle ground between the Lusters' insane single target DPS and the Titans' solid AoE damage. But it just wasn't like it was too powerful that it was kind of like the best option in both of those cases.
Yep.
Just the jack of all trades, master of both. Really. So now hopefully with the nerfs and the new ammo types coming to the Titan, are Lusters getting any new gas types, or is it staying with nitrogen and?
No, but they did actually receive a very small nerf, which is the introduction of a power cost.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that, but I think that's fitting.
Yeah,
Erekir generally, once you get past the early game, power is pretty easy to come by. I mean, I'd say it's less of a pain in the ass. I'd say it's more of a pain in the ass than it is on Serpulo, but
I mean, Serp, you just placed a diff gen core unload.
Yeah, entirely different games, right? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've never really struggled with making Erekir power like Pyrolysis. I don't know how to pronounce the fucking word. You know what I'm talking about?
Pyrolysis generators.
The orange ones.
Yeah, the ones that take 40 Arcusite and 20 slag and produce 20 water and 1500 power.
Yep, you put them in there. They're great. They do the job. How much power do Lusters take, Drex?
It's an extremely small amount. It's like 300 or something. And the thing is, though, you're very unlikely to have constant activity. It's unlikely to be ever relevant.
Yep. Here's a funny fact. Actually, I joke about being a Flick's biggest fan, but Lusters are actually my favorite turret in the game.
Really?
It's either Lusters or Fusers. Yep. One of the two.
Have you
this fake fan?
Have you followed the development of the new meta turret that has been outshining Afflict in V7?
Which turret?
Sublimate.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Cyan?
no, I remember like Cyan, Sublimate, get the extra range.
Yeah, there's been
a DPS, and they're pretty cheap, quick to build.
Well, that's a fucking lie. They're very expensive and very cost. Like, sure, compared to an Afflict, they're somewhat cheaper. They cost more oxide. But there's been a whole meta
I'm
recently
guilty of spreading misinformation.
about massive sign networks. Has started a whole meta, and especially Sire, he would create sign factories with containers, and then he'd place sign sublimates at the front lines and just manually drop the containers there, and it's completely shut down any
It's like
push. It was really cool to see.
we have autofill at home.
Yeah, it's actually a really good use of the pickup feature.
Oh, for sure. I wish that ozone bombing. It's a thing, bro. How viable do you think ozone bombing the incoming pushes? I remember trying it a whole bunch and it doing nothing.
Ozone bombing currently is like a must do if you want to really be top 3. Like, it's basically a requirement. You can get ridiculously good trades with it, and you can just easily win defenses, even if you have a 2-to-1 disadvantage. Especially early on, like in a fist fight, if you can ozone bomb a Lurker successfully, it's an instant win. There are.
Yeah. So would you say that ozone bombing, like it's a very powerful thing? Like, would you say that's balanced by like the skill requirement to actually be able to like pull it off in time? Because you can only drop the container in your own hex.
It is. Ozone bombing by itself is balanced. The problem then comes from core bombing, which is a whole different tactic that you never got to experience.
No, I've never heard of this before. Explain.
So core bombing was a tactic developed in the past year or so, and the basic principle is, because of how Lara Feticus's server program works, there's a small gap between when the core is destroyed and when the core is replaced with a new core. In that time, you can place an ozone bomb next to where the core will be, and it will then re-explode the core and send it to fallen team.
That is crazy.
So you can double blow up cores, you can chain that to triple blow up, etc. as well. And it's an incredibly toxic, hated on strategy in fist fights or any FFA match. You can just shut down somebody's first hex and it's brutal if they don't counter it or they're not expecting it.
A similar strategy has actually popped up on Serpulo as well, being called a proxy core, where you would set up like a couple distributors where a hex or a core would spawn in a hex, and then after that blows up the fallen core, you'd move like a couple flares there so that you would get credit for the kill and it would become your hex.
Yeah.
So you could just set up a core next to the enemy base, like in the first minutes of the game.
Yeah.
That is great. I think that's what happened to me when fuck, I forgot his name.
Yeah, Virogens, he's the only one doing it, and he has proved that it is a viable strategy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Funnily enough, I believe Opens was the original creator. Opens showed it to me originally, the proxy core method, and I found it very interesting, and I've been trying to think of ways to use it on an Erekir. Supposedly it's usable, but I haven't seen it ever in use effectively.
Well, you don't have flares on Erekir, right? Like the closest thing you have is eludes, which they're fast, but not as fast as flares, and you kind of have to be fast to get past the attrition to actually get there. Right. So what we used to do on Serpulo is the attrition only starts affecting you once you get past one hex out from where you control. So what we do is if you were trying to like snipe someone cross map, you'd take every other core on the way to their base so that you wouldn't suffer attrition when you cross map them with flares.
Wow. Look at these sweats. Yeah, it was.
As if you aren't one yourself.
It was quite hard to do that on Erekir just due to units taking so many attrition losses. Even if you tried to do that
Plus the cores on
way.
Erekir
So
are so much tankier than shards.
Yeah, 4.5k HP to a Bastion is ridiculous. In fact, it takes a... This is actually such a crazy fact about flares. Takes a flare less time to destroy a nucleus than it does take for it to destroy a Bastion because of the armor as well.
Yep, the armor is such a crazy stat on Eviction, especially Serpulo,
I mean, it's
because
big
of
on
how
Erekir.
the like the half damage balancing, everything deals half damage.
Yes.
So it takes a horde of a horde of daggers, like 8 years to kill one mace because they do like half a point of damage to it.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
It's nuts. And then, it's just kind of like there's a good reason why on Eviction units are deal half damage, right? You don't want everything to be, so fast that you can't really like respond and, all of these other things where, things just instantly get blown up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does kind of cause problems like this, and also the whole crash damage thing. I don't know what the crash damage status is right now on Serpulo, if it's on or off. I remember we kind of flip-flopped between it for a while, trying to figure out what the best course of action
still
is
off.
regarding that.
It's still off, but actually an update on crash damage V8 related is shields will now block crash damage in V8, which is a huge deal.
That is a huge deal.
Yes, very huge.
Do you think with that we could turn crash damage back on?
There's definitely a credit to looking at it. Probably not at full strength though. You might turn it on to like 0.25 or something, I could see.
If it's on low, yeah, because it's really easy to just spam flares a couple minutes into the game before people can spam down shields.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
well, you can just breathe on a shard and it'll die. Right.
Other things to consider with V8 as well is with the new unit control features, there will be things like quads being able to pick up, I don't know, let's say a ton of maces and just drop them on a core.
Bot drop protected.
There has been talk about doing that with fortresses.
Yeah, it's not. You don't even need to use bots anymore, Taron. There's a there's RTS controls for it now as a V8.
I was making a joke.
Oh.
Helldivers joke.
I'm clearly uninitiated.
Unfortunately, it really went over your head. Damn it, bro. I'll see myself out. Anyways, yeah, no RTS controls, just bring it in. Fortresses.
Yeah.
Maces.
Very excited for that.
What do you think about like the viability of the crawler tree units
Crawler
with
itself?
that feature, like drop spear ox or crawlers? Or
there's actually an even crazier part.
What is?
There's another feature that was added, which is the ability to have units hold fire, which is a huge deal for one unit specifically, or two actually.
And what units are those?
Crawler and Corvus.
Oh.
You can have Crawler hold fire, so it doesn't get blown up by things like junctions and conveyors.
So you can just bring them in, because that was how you'd counter the crawlers, right? You just spam your conveyors.
Yep.
Your junctions, and they just blow up on them, and next thing you know, the whole mob of crawlers is gone.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've heard that in ranked, using crawlers with the logic so they won't blow up is a pretty popular thing to do.
So I actually have seen that logic in action, and I've talked to players who are top 100 ranked. They genuinely hate that logic with a passion. They want to illegalize it. And this is a this is a person who has Meg logic that allows Megas to pick up Surge Swarmers, drop them on the front line, and autofill them with Surge. And he thinks the Crawler logic is overpowered. Right, that is how ridiculously strong that is. Because Crawlers, fun fact, nearly as tanky as a T1 boat. They have 200 HP from memory, which is ridiculous, especially with their movement speed. So they are actually quite a menace.
I see. I've always loved the crawler tree. I thought they were the coolest looking units
I can
in
also
the
agree with
game, and
that.
it's a shame that they're not as viable
Yeah,
as
apparently V6 Arcade was broken.
really.
Yeah, because
Well, I
of the
guess that
healing.
explains Artyomic's obsession with it because he was a V6 player.
Yeah, like, you could kill multiple Corvus with a single Arcade.
Yeah, I remember because of the sap, they were designed more for like unit on unit combat.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately on Serpulo you don't really see too much of because, well, I mean, like ground versus air is not really a thing at all. Like ground units on Serpulo are reserved really for like early game or like specific tech like Velas or
Veilers
Corvuses,
are
like
crazy.
bunker
Yeah.
busting. Right?
The ground units
It's
have been a
mostly
little
just
more popular recently.
Fortress
which
have been
units.
pretty big, haven't they?
Yeah, Fortress.
Yeah.
Well, Fortresses were quite popular back like at the start of V7 as well because they could outrange Cyclones if people were still using those. And don't they outrange Swarmers by just a
No.
little bit if you get the sweet spot?
No, they do
No?
not.
Swarmers have
But they
2
can
tiles of
easily
range.
take down smaller swarmer forts.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Also,
Just the issue.
quasars have seen a little bit of use, more so
Yes.
for defense, since they trade really well against zeniths while being able to heal cores.
Yeah. Quasar's Pierce with the healing, and they're really ridiculously underused, I find. I think they have a lot of unexplored potential.
Yep. I think there's a lot of unexplored potential with like a lot of the ground units on Serpulo as well. Just you have to find like the specific use cases for them, right? Like it's so easy to just like spam air units only because air units in Serpulo are incredibly strong, and not really properly balanced. I think Erekir really did it right with the tier 1 air unit being a ground unit.
I can agree with that, yeah. Actually,
Just
on
yeah.
that topic though, of T1s not being good enough, there's actually a massive indirect Nova buff as of V8.
Oh yeah.
And this has the ability to potentially change one of the most key features of Evict that everybody has to do. And that is,
And what is
as
that?
a V8, Novas will be given the ability to use build assist.
Oh my god, what?
Any unit that can build will be given build assist abilities. That is such a big deal. Quasars, Veiler, Corvus, Pulsar, Quad, Oct, like all those can now be used for build assist. The big one though is definitely Nova, because Nova are cheaper than Poly.
It's true.
So you can get a earlier Nova factory than you can get a Poly factory. And their build speed
Absolutely.
stat is pretty similar as well from memory. Yeah, Novas have a build speed of 80%, Polys have a build
So,
speed of 50. So each Nova's...
do you think so obviously polys are much quicker than novas are when flying, right? But do you think that we could possibly see like people building polys like phased out entirely in
No.
exchange for novas at the start and then building into megas instead of
Ooh.
One of the problems with having too much build speed early on is having enough copper and lead to use that build speed for.
yeah, forgot about
But
that.
here's the counter argument. There's now a mine tool as well. As in, you can set units to mine, such as Poly, Mega, Pulsar, Quasar. I think maybe Veiler. No, Veiler can't mine. Basically, any unit that can mine, you can set it to mine. So,
Can
if
novas
you
mine?
Novas cannot mine.
All right,
So
it's a
that's
shame.
that's the issue there. So it might be a mono into into Nova into a Pulsar Quas or Pulsar Poly factory, I think I have something somewhat similar to what I'm talking about. Actually, has a schematic already. Yeah, something like this, Taron. If you're looking at my stream,
Yep, I'm seeing it.
something like this, I think, is pretty likely.
Yep, no, I'm seeing it. Variety units ready to start.
Yeah, this is actually a Probotnik design as well for V8, I believe.
You already designed for V8. That's something.
I mean, I've been mainly playing V8 as of recent. It's pretty popular for cert players, especially outside of Evict.
All right, shoot me an invite to that server. I got my game downloaded.
All right.
Doxing my Steam, hell yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. Look, getting me in here. Is my name still Taron, or what is it on here?
Let's find out. What do you think of the possibility of using Novas into a what
Sorry, can you send it one more time?
What do you? I'm asking Al. What do you think's the possibility of is using Novas?
No, I mean like the invite.
Do you think it's going to be
I
a big
feel
deal?
like using like one Nova factory at the beginning would be good, just for that extra little bit of build speed. If you want to like do something like Dome Rush, where you're trying to place down like Surge, Plastanium, the
Yep.
stuff that takes a little longer to build.
Yeah.
To just get them up sooner to get that fastest dome possible.
See, it gets even cooler because what you could then use is a Nova factory that you turn into a pulsar factory and then have the pulsars do mining.
Mm. Well, are
And
pulsars like very fast miners, or?
well, if we check the core database, we can see pulsars have a mining speed of 500%, polys have a mining speed of 350%.
Wow.
Each pulsar is worth 2 monos. Pulsars also have a build speed of nearly double that of a poly.
The more you know.
Yeah, pulsars are incredibly strong units, and in general, you should always be making pulsars anyway because you want that shield.
Yeah, pulsars are generally pretty good for flares since the shield effectively doubles their HP.
Yeah, it's a 40 HP shield, which with flares, HP goes from 90 to 130.
Which, even if that's like 1 or 2 more hits from a scatter, that is still quite a lot.
Oh, it's an absolutely huge deal. I've had to play against pulsar boosted flares against Irad, and it is brutal. I've tried the
I know
next
there's been some like meme strats where you use which boat was it? The Oxynoe to buff their movement speed as well.
Yeah, I remember that. That was really funny.
Oxynoes have so much potential, I think.
Well, yeah, if their buff lasted a little longer, then I could see them being actually used.
That, and I want to see Bride's shield buff get a buff. Because right now it's the same buff that Pulsar gives. And I'd really like to see it not be.
Like, I didn't even know they do that.
Yeah, it's not the most common of known facts, but yeah, Brides give a shield buff.
Yeah, I play Evict too much, so I don't know that much about the boats.
Yeah, boats don't really ever come up. I mean, like, all we ever really saw was like some screwing around with Oxyno, like buffing Zeniths in like little water pockets just to, kind of give them a little bit of an extra boost when you send them in. But
then
I mean, there's no water on Evict, so you get little pools.
I will say the Oxyno buff is absolutely ridiculous because it's also an attack speed and damage increase. It's like a 40% DPS increase on top of a 15% movement speed increase.
Mm-hmm.
Which just getting through those scatters a lot sooner, that gives them a lot more DPS effectively.
Yeah, really does.
Yep.
Go on.
So, I mean, of course, we get meme strats on a Serpulo using the boats. I mean, you can stick an Omura in a in a water pool, and you can have basically a foreshadow in your base.
I'm-
But obviously these weren't exactly.
Taron, do you remember the
know,
one boat meme strat I came to you with?
Which one? You gotta remind me.
It was the let's stick a bunch of Adries in a pool of water right next to a core.
Oh yes, yes. The Adries, because of the healing field.
Can target 20
I don't
units.
think that would work, man.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit of a pipe dream, but
I mean, maybe. I mean, the electrified debuff that Adries applies is pretty big, but that's about it.
yeah, I guess so. But I don't know. I feel like we're kind of looking in the wrong areas for stats, right? Right, like strats. I mean, you can only really go so far with like meme strats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And it was fun to think about, right? Like the what ifs, but I mean, realistically, there's no world where throwing boats into your base to not go anywhere, just to act as buffs, is really a super great idea. I don't think, unless there were to be like some insane buff to those buff giving units that would be indicative of a problem in other game modes.
So, there's actually an interesting topic of discussion about that, because in V8, there's a new feature where drills can mine ores that are underwater.
Oh,
And I believe
so
that includes sand.
boats and eviction.
Meaning you could theoretically fill the entire Evict map with water.
God, how would that change the game though? That'd be crazy because the boats, like, I don't know, there's a level of water that ground units and boats can operate in, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, there are 3 levels of water if you include land as the first. Which is none, shallow, and deep.
right. In shallow, you can run your daggers and crawlers and whatever through it, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a possibility, but then we have to ask, how do boats come into the meta? Like, naval units, I'd say, like, in general, are the strongest units stat-wise.
Well, let's put that into
Easily, yes.
scale. Let's put that into scale. The tankiest T1 unit regularly used on Evict would be Dagger, probably. Dagger has 150 HP. Resso has 280 HP and 2 armor.
Yeah, so, it
And
costs silicon and metaglass, where your dagger costs silicon and lead. I mean, obviously, your Riso costs double the silicon, and metaglass is kind of hard to come by in the early game, but people often build, 2 or 3 dagger factories in the early game, right?
when it
They
gets
like
better.
to expand quickly.
It gets even better. If you look at Retusas, Retusas have a build speed of 150%.
Oh shit.
That means each
Yeah,
Retusa
you're right.
is 1.5 core units.
Wow.
Not only that, they have 3 armor and 270 HP. Plus, their torpedoes have ridiculous DPS.
Yeah.
Oxynose.
So, I mean, it would totally change the game.
Yeah, Oxynose are water maces, but faster, apply buffs, and have a segment built in.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like and we know how powerful the segment ability is from Claroy on Erekir.
100%, and Adries as well have that ability. You have
Yeah.
Brides able to outrange every single turret in the game except for Foreshadow, if manual controlled. Even when not manual controlled, Ripples only have a 3 tile range advantage on Bride, plus 910 HP, 7 armor, a shield regen field, which has a shield per second of 10, which is significantly better than Pulsar's at a shield per second of 8.
Wow.
You have
So what I'm picking up from what you're telling me here, looking at all these stats, is that if we were to take the eviction map and flood it, it would be like Boat City.
Yes.
Like I think that there would still be like
ground
air
units.
units would probably still, have use, but ground units would be obsolete.
The problem is, ground units would have the slowed effect due to being wet all the time as well.
Yep.
Which is just, they can't deal with that.
So what do we think about possibly having
Rivers?
2 Serpulo eviction servers? One with standard ground and one with the shallow water.
Well, let's continue looking at some of the ridiculous boat stats. I mean, Sias has a heal speed of 84. One Sias can heal 84 per second. If you combine that with the fact that Bride has 7 armor, it's ridiculous. And 2 Sias, you're looking at more HP per, or similar HP per second as. Sorry, it would take 5 Sias to out-heal a permanently active Veiler. A Veiler with 0 recharge time is out-healed by 5 Sias. Which is just insane.
That was wild. You know, what another thing that's really crazy to me, right, like completely like just off the topic of bows, but like still on the topic of units, is how powerful the Erekir units are compared to the Serpulo units.
Well, the Erekir units have a lot more of a linear scaling than the Serpulo units, because Serpulo units are basically divided into 2 groups.
Yep, 1 through 3, and then 4 and 5.
Yeah, while Erekir units, it's a lot more straight-lined.
A Bride has 910 health,
and then Say has 11,000.
But a Spy has 11,000. And the build costs reflect this, right? Like, the Spy is so much more expensive than a Bride, plus requiring cryo fluid to actually run the fabricator.
Yeah, 850 silicon, 750 titanium, 650 plus 60 cryo fluid per second, plus the extremely high build time. It's very expensive, but then you look at Erekir's T4s, and they're almost cheap.
Yep.
Also, fun fact about those costs, a T4 is more expensive to run than a T5.
Really?
In terms of silicon and titanium per second, a T4 will consume more per second than a T5. In fact, a T5 consumes less silicon per second than a T2.
Wow.
T2s are insane. 10 silicon and 10 graphite per second when domed.
That's a lot.
Like, they have ridiculous consumption rates. Other things to consider though are Navinax give a... What is it? Navinax give a boost of some kind to nearby structures, apparently, something I've heard. I've never gotten that confirmed or not, but supposedly Navinax have a better than overdrive dome boost to nearby structures.
Really?
It's like 300% instead of overdrive dome is 250, apparently.
I didn't know that.
That
doesn't say anything about that on the actual unit in the core database.
Fact from Fish, so take it with a grain of salt.
I see.
I've heard about that as well for a potential kind of tech for Dome Rush.
Nah.
That's a little wild, but it's possible.
I'd say that's pretty wild.
See, Now, I could understand it if you could pick up Navinax with an Oct and transport a Navinax into a water pool in each hex, and then get that 300% boost. That's where I could understand it.
Yeah, it's like a super late game, like all your hexes are loaded kind of thing. But
Not only that, but Navinax is really good on defense.
oh well, yeah, I mean it's got good range, and then really high like DPS once you get close to it.
Yep. 4 mini
Plus, if it does
meltdowns.
in fact give nearby blocks a 300% boost, that also applies to turrets?
Yeah.
Right, so your turrets will be shooting 300% faster compared to 250% faster with an overdome.
Yep. Which is about a 20% increase.
So you can kill 20% more Zeniths.
Per second. I mean, yeah, the problem is, though, an Oct can't pick up a Navinax.
No, it cannot.
Which is truly tragic, because it would have been so cool to have that as a feature.
What else is an Oct used for? Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, here's a thing. It can still pick up a Psy, or a Say, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's true. Are the units that are being held by the Oct able to, like, shoot?
No, that was an experimental feature. I am unsure if that is a feature being implemented in VA. I believe not. If it was, we could come back to Erekir and introduce the Quell Cleroy, or the Quell Amphicus.
Oh. Yeah, how many Cleroy can you pick up with a Quell?
A few. It's like 3 or 4 or something like that. Let me do the math real quick.
Yeah, that's
Quell have
still
9. Cleroy have 1.75 times 1.75 gives about 2.5, right? Yeah, you could pick up about 3 Cleroy with 1 Quell.
But that's still like
A lot.
6 sets of the segment defenses, right? And
Yeah.
Compare that to like a single disperse, right? How much
Wouldn't full counter?
disperse can?
Cleroy,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to ask here.
Cleroy are not good versus disperse. The time when this would be big, complete nullification of averts, and semi-denial of obviates.
Yeah, because averts are the main counter for
That's an obviates, yeah.
Quells because of how much range they have, and they can't shoot down other air units.
Yep, and the thing is, Quells can carry Amphicus.
Missiles, more missiles.
But Amphicus can hit air.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Another big change to Quell with VA is it's getting a brief immunity frame with its projector. Like its projectile is invincible for a few seconds after being fired. Same with Disrupt.
Damn. On the topic of balance, I wanted to ask, start of V7, there was a boogeyman on Erekir. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. The Anthicus unit. People had shadow banned. The gentleman's agreement. We don't use Anthicus.
Have you heard of this?
Since then,
Al? Have you heard of the Amphicus shadow ban?
I have not.
Ah.
Oh my goodness.
So, this was actually an originally proposed idea by me, Sar, and Yism, that we then forced the rest of the community to adopt, which is Amphicus, due to the fact that they can completely control any game they are used in, should be banned. Just for the sake of fairness and enjoyability, we never used Amphicus. Ever. Because they completely dominated. Until that ban was, any game that wasn't a fistfight was an Amphicus match. Yep. And it was full Amphicus spam. Like, there were games where you'd have hundreds of Amphicus and nothing else. Then, what happened is, a while back, all missile units got a 50% damage nerf. Due to a bug fix. And Amphicus have not been anywhere near as good since. They're still quite strong, but they're now usable and they're not completely broken. So they're a lot more fair now, and they are now allowed. But yeah, back in the day, they were banned for nearly a full year or something like that.
It was a long time.
I mean, they weren't as dominant as pre-nerf Quells, for example, but still pretty big deal.
The Quells were busted for a while. I feel like, though, at current moment, I feel like Erekir is more balanced and diverse than Serpulo is.
Last time I played, within a few days, I saw every single unit except for the following: Meru, Conquer, Disrupt.
Yep, that sounds about right. I mean,
Like 5 matches.
Kalaris is the king of the T5s in Erekir. It's not even a competition.
No.
Disrupt needs a buff. I don't know if they're getting one in
Small buff, but that's about as much as
V8.
I've heard. But with the pickups, that's a pretty big buff because Disrupt's
Yeah.
payload capacity is insane. I mean, 6x6 is
6x6 blocks.
That's a 36 block capacity, meaning it could hold, I don't know, 4 Tector.
Wow. So, not to mention it does have the increased range over the Quell, but you're not really going to be using it as a damaging unit, really. It's more effective to build multiple Quell than a
Actually,
single Disrupt. But
Disrupts do a lot of damage, and the thing is, with the range buff, they outrange Maligns.
they're getting a range buff?
No, that their current range allows them to outrange Malign.
Oh, I see.
And the thing is,
So,
Malign and Smite are given a huge buff in V8. An absolutely monumental buff that could potentially cause complete changes to the viability of Smite and Malign, and it has 0 buffs to their stats.
what is it? You got me curious now.
And this is ridiculous. And I had to find this out the hard way. Maligns will pre-charge.
Oh.
If there is a unit within a certain radius, which is more than the Malign's range, like it's an additional 10 blocks on top of the Malign's range, they will automatically charge.
Wow. That is crazy because the spin-up time is the Malign's biggest weakness, right? Is
Same
this
with the
being
Smite.
applied to the Smite too?
Yes.
So do you think people will be building these turrets now?
It is very possible. I mean, a while back I trolled Sire with a Malign and Kalaris.
Yep. I remember. I think I was there for that.
Really? Oh, yeah,
I
that
think
was
so. I remember.
very
I
fun
remember
game.
building a Malign. I remember seeing a Malign and a Kalaris, but
Yeah, because I had a guy protecting me from Sire. Because I just sheltered and built him a line and a Claris. It was very funny. I mean, yeah, Malign, this is a very big deal for Malign, and it has the potential to make it a viable turret. I'm not sure if it will or won't. Taron, do you need an afflict scheme?
I don't have it on this account. This is my Steam account. Okay, I'll take that one.
Too lazy to make the own.
It's so yellow.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
cannot
that's
like that.
very interesting stuff because I feel like, you know, Serpulo is more like go, 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 and Erekir is a bit more methodical.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit more planning and strategy that kind of comes into play, like especially with your attacks. Like it plays more like a traditional RTS, which makes sense because Erekir was made with, you know, RTS mechanics in mind. Being released in V7, but you know, I do think that it plays slightly better. And getting back to my prior point of it being a, you know, relatively more balanced experience. I mean, like Drex said, the only units that we don't see are Disrupts, Conquers, and Meruis. Meruis are basically been banished to be used only for if you get stuck in a really, really shitty hex to start.
Nah,
It doesn't have an actual exit. Yeah.
nah. The people are crazy. They do not realize the potential of the mirror. They hard counter Amphicus. I'm telling you, they hard counter Amphicus.
They do?
They so do, because their projectiles don't get blocked by Amphicus bullets. Unlike every other projectile in the game. So they so hard counter Amphicus, and this is definitely not a joke. I've been keeping alive for 3 years.
No way.
For 3 years, I've been doing my best to convince the community that Mario hard counter Amphicus, and nobody will believe me.
Okay, show me. Do we have a
They don't.
like a truck score?
They do not. This is a joke. They do not have the
Why are you
H.
trolling?
They do not
Why are
have
you
the
trolling
HP
me,
to get
James?
close enough at all.
No, that's thought, but
The
I mean,
thing,
you are the expert, so
the thing is, if Maru's bullets could be applied to a higher tier unit, like, I don't know, Tector, or even a T2 or a T3 of some kind, they could actually be a very big counter for Amphicus.
we put. Now, hear me out. We put the Mary projectiles on the precept.
Huh. You know what? Better idea. Why don't we put the Murray projectiles on a turret?
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, and doesn't already exist.
Well, can we talk? Okay, so Drexium, hold on. You implied something earlier, and I didn't quite register what you had said first. But when you said that you had seen every unit other than Mary, Conquer, and Disrupt, that implies that there were precepts in one of your games.
Oh, very regularly. Precepts
Are
are
people?
meta. Precepts are meta. And I'll show you the build order that involves.
No fucking way! I gotta get back into this game.
So, firstly, I'm going to ask you to look at the schematics I am placing down.
Okay, let's go take a look at what Drex is doing. Oh my god. So you gotta put the nitrogen. How much nitrogen does this need?
I will show you that in just one moment. This combo here has become dominant. At least when I last played, this was one of the most dominant combos out there.
I see.
It is a 4x Precept, 4x Amphicus, because they synergize ridiculously well, and amazing versatility. They counter everything.
I see it. You don't have to be intelligent to see it, though. Like, precepts are very tanky. I mean, you'd expect them to be they're tanks, right? They're really good at soaking up damage. This is like, they go together like Vanquish and Claroy.
And this is a schematic I like to place afterwards. After this, I love my Vanquish on top of all that.
That's crazy. You got your sublimate in here too.
Yeah, defensive sublimates are very common in these T4 schematics. It's old standard. It's rare you see one
So
without
is that because you get spare cyanogen from the?
I mean, getting a perfectly ratioed T3 is ridiculous. If we actually want to explore that further, there are some more accurate statistics than what are shown in the core database on this map.
Oh wow. So we have all the ratios here. So
yeah, I've put a lot of effort into this map.
So 7.03 cyanogen per second for Vanquish.
Which
so
is
we come back to the schematic.
Very conflicting with the core database result of 9. It's due to the time required to load a Vanquish.
Right.
Because
so 2 cyanogen synthesizers, this schematic here, each of these is getting, well, one of these is getting 4 worth of heat, the other is getting 5 worth of heat.
It's 27 total heat. There's a conversion ratio of 5 heat to 3 cyanogen. So we're looking at 27 over 5 times 3. If we multiply 27 by 3, we'll get 81. Divide that by 5. We're looking at 16.2.
16.2. So each of these things takes 7.1. That was the ratio, right? 7.1?
7.03
7.03.
or something like that.
Yep, 7.03. So that's leaving you with just under 2 seconds of cyanogen to fuel your sublimate here.
Which is more than enough, because it's not going to be constantly active. Sorry, Al, I feel like we're spending a bit too much time on Erekir for you.
Speak as much as you want there.
Do we want to move on to talking about the differences between the two planets?
We've been going for a while now. I mean, we should probably let's touch on a few last things and then probably.
Yeah, we've been going for over an hour.
Yeah, it's been quick. But yeah, let's discuss some differences between Serpulo and Erekir. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Drex? So I can see if I can kind of compound off of this kind of thing, because you're clearly the brains of the operation.
I mean, I'd actually like to hear from El to start. Like, El, can you give us like some of the key principles of Serpulo gameplay?
I guess being able to just play fast enough, know your eco, so you can keep on pace with other players. Is like the first 5 minutes can tell how the entire game goes, or just the spawn location. If you're in an unfortunate place, like a lot of places walled in, that's a lot of attack opportunities with air units.
No water. Can't forget the no water curse. That's just fucked up.
And there's not really that many people that have a lot of game sense of where to expand, like being able to plan a good amount farther ahead. People are used to just that moment to moment just action.
Yep, I mean Serpulo is by far the more fast-paced planet, especially considering I think the biggest part of that is one, build assist is much more accessible than Erekir, right? You can have your nitrogen networks, you have your build towers, right? It's great, but you cannot beat the convenience of having a blob of polys following you around. Secondly, is how prevalent air units are and how fast they are compared to Erekir's air units, right? In Erekir, you see the attack coming, you build up your forces at the border and then move in. In Serpulo, your Zeniths sit in a blob somewhere and then you attack. And it doesn't really matter where they're sitting. It's just it's less strategic thinking. There's obviously still some it's an RTS game, but a lot of it is also just reaction time and APM.
Yeah, just being able to react to every single attack. Since with current play, if there's anything undefended, it will be attacked. So you have to be able to watch out for that, place down all those defenses preemptively.
Yep, every single core needs defenses on Serpulo. You can't leave anything undefended because people will see those weak points and they will, stick the knife in deep. Right? On Erekir, it's, it's the kind of thing where you see, if your opponent's building massive verts, which I don't think really happens. I don't know. But in that kind of thing, you have to, you can see it coming and you can, build accordingly with your dispersers because they have so much range. Serpulo, you need to have defenses on every single core from the very start of the game, and that's what I think really separates the men from the boys in a certain regards on Serpulo is the whole if you're able to work building defenses onto your starter eco cores while also expanding, which I think is also why we see so much of the whole schematics with inbuilt defenses on Serpulo now. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, one of the things you always got to watch out for is your first hex. That's probably usually one of the most important hexes that's always undefended. Since you gotta watch out for that, since that has all your monos in it, pretty much. If that's gone, all your surge production you're using for ammo, which you can use a lot because you're building defense in every single hex. In some cases, in the schematics as well. You just run through Surge really quickly. So all that copper and lead can just be gone in an instant, and you can't do anything about it because you need copper and lead to make more monos.
Yep, exactly. You gotta start mining by hand. Not to mention, I think another thing that people don't really think about too often is, on Erekir, generally speaking, your first core isn't really going to be much of a target. But Serpulo, if it's blown up, not only do you lose your monos, but if you're still early enough in the game where you don't have like a lot of polys set up, getting kicked back down to using an alpha core unit rather than the gamma, that's a 50% build speed decrease.
It's massive. It is actually ridiculous. Even on Erekir, the build speed is noticeable if you lose your starting core.
Yeah. Like the Evoke's build speed's 120, and the Emanate's build speed's 150. So
You
it's
don't
not
have
as
an Emanate.
extreme as the difference. Not an Emanate, sorry. You
You're looking for the insight.
You start with an insight, really?
Yeah.
I haven't been on Erekir in a minute.
I mean, do you really want to have us start with an Acropolis core with 30,000 HP and the highest armor stat of any block?
Yeah, no, now that you mention it, it's not good. But yeah, like you lose 20%. 20% is what you lose on Erekir. Serpulo uses 50, like that's a huge difference. But
Well,
yeah, like once you lose your nucleus on Serpulo, it's like, it's a lot more difficult to kind of claw your way back into the game.
Isn't it possible to rebuild cores though on Sep? Isn't core is core upgrading on Sep?
Yep. Yes, it is.
Something you do see. Like if you're boxed in, that's something you do to get more units, increase the unit cap, or just do that for front lines, to make it more tanky.
Generally, once you get rich, you want to be putting nucleuses on all of your cores. Like 6,000 HP compared to the shards. Where's
0.
the shard? Where the fuck is the shard? What?
Look, as an Erekir player, the shard generally feels like a shard of glass.
It does. It just falls over. Like you might as well have a vault.
Yeah, it has 1,100 HP or something like that.
And none of the Serpulo cores are armored.
Yeah, not a single block on Serp has armor, which I think is a pretty big deal.
That's also a third of the tier 2 core.
Yep. That's crazy, right? And I think that armor makes a huge difference. I mean, armor's, like I said before, it's an interesting stat on Evict because of the reduced damage that all units deal. But, I mean, it's not really as prevalent on Serpulo unless we're talking about, maces specifically.
Forts as well.
Yeah, fortresses too. But yeah, I always say that they're, entirely different games. Serpulo and Erekir, like you're going through the same motions, but the way that you go about it is entirely different.
100%.
Could be in a different mindset. And Erekir, there's so much more planning ahead, and I think a part of that is because of the random outcroppings in your actual hexes where there's rocks and shit. So you don't get those massive schematics. Like you have to have schematics that are realistically sized to actually fit into these cores. The hexes, I mean, that are full of all the rocks and shit. And I think that also kind of makes Erekir a more interesting tactical experience, more akin to a traditional RTS.
Yeah.
Yeah, Serpulo could just place down, do everything schematic like the one I've just placed here. If you want to pan over.
What are these drills?
Those are oil extractors.
Oh.
Yeah,
that checks out.
Schematics like that have always been interesting to me. I mean, a few times I've experimented with rank style gameplay, I've always used very targeted schematics. The only ones I haven't used are placed it down over by the sandy cores. That one there. It's like one of the few schematics that's multi-purpose that I regularly use. It's a very nice schematic as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You mean you got your phase and your surge. It's
Swarmer with
got some
bridge loading.
defenses. Yeah,
It's a nice map.
and yeah, no, but it gets the job done because generally you want to be making these things at the same point in the game.
Yeah.
There's maybe even an argument for making phase before surge due to boosting your overdrive.
Overdrives?
Overdomes need surge to build, right? Yeah, they do.
Yes, 120.
Yep. But generally, when you're making surge, you want it for ammo and you want it for overdomes.
Yeah.
And really, like, there isn't too much else that actually needs surge.
Unless you're doing T5s.
I mean, yeah, and impacts, I guess, if you're
Weird.
a freak.
That, and also later on place down some meltdowns so Zenith can't do anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Meltdowns.
Meltdowns have always been weird to me. I get why they use it. They just... Huh. They're a weird turret.
I'd be inclined to agree.
Spectres? Have you guys ever seen Pyrospectres?
I have not seen them.
Not on Serpulo, no. I've seen them in, like, other servers like Fish, but I don't think people on Eviction really ever bother much to use them.
Did you notice why Pyrospectres have one of the most unique properties of any turret in the game? Or any projectile period?
What do they do?
Piercing AoE. They have a pierce stat and an AoE stat.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, they're actually very unique in that regard. I can't name another turret off the top of my head that has both pierce and AoE.
I can't think of one either.
Precept has pierce and AoE. Vanquish has pierce and AoE. Conquer just has pierce.
Afflicts don't have it, right? Afflict is just pierce. Yeah.
Yeah. Afflicts just do
It feels like
kinetic
it's
damage.
AoE because it's busted.
I think Scepters and... Scepters don't. Reigns do.
Oh yeah.
So it's a pretty rare stat, yeah. Which is actually really cool to see in a turret. It's the only turret that has it.
Too bad you rarely see them used.
And if you do, it's always with Thorium.
Well, because with Pyrite, right, like there's nothing really, like, you don't ever put it in your core.
Yeah.
I mean, the main problem with it is using oil with it will just set fire to your own buildings. So you just nuke your own stuff.
Yeah, 100%. The craziest thing is, though, it has similar DPS to Thorium.
Really?
It's 80 damage on Thorium, 70 damage on Pyrite, but Pyrite has the area damage. And better ammo usage, plus burning, just no knockback, or just a slightly reduced knockback. Taron, this is Silicon and Phase into a overdrive projector, man.
Let him cook.
So anyway,
let me cook.
Some other differences between Erekir and Serp I can really point out is just how reliant on map awareness each one is. Like,
and that is something I want to see more on Serpulo, is that map awareness.
Yeah,
well, I mean, a lot of people, like, the thing with map awareness, right, is a lot of people that just use foos can, like, see what other people are doing.
Not really. That's a very over-exaggerated point. I find it with foos discussions. Like, this is a whole client debate for another time.
We should definitely save the foos discussion for another episode. But
I mean, if you guys want to look at my stream, you can see where your cursors are and just see how hard it is to identify that.
Yeah,
I guess
I know Sire before got into a little bit of trouble with it. People did not like it when they figured out they use it.
So the thing Sire uses is he can see the actual commands given to units. I can see where you look.
Yeah.
I can see your cursor, which by the way is impossible to see on Erekir because it blends in so well. Especially in the olden days, back when we had the previous terrain. But what other people have had are things like, I know one person who's got a custom client has an early warning system where if units approach towards the core, it instantly gives them a warning message in chat,
That's crazy.
which is
Because
probably the
Sire,
most ridiculous.
does he use Fooz, or is it like a custom client
I
that
think he uses a slightly different version of Foost to everybody else. I'm not too sure with that. That is what I think. Purely speculation there.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe we could ask him someday. I mean, I'm kind of curious as to what he's operating with, but
Yeah, 100% me too.
it's interesting. It's interesting. The modding discussions for another time. I mean, that's always been a hot topic of discussion in the community.
Very hot, yeah.
Whether or not this kind of thing's, acceptable. But, anyways, it's not what we're talking about right now. But yeah, the whole map awareness thing is definitely like a more pressing thing on Erekir because of
No, I was going to say
response
it's way
time.
more present on Serp.
Sorry, let me rephrase. Certainly, you have to be very observant of your map. You have to be very observant of the map. In both of them, you just have to do it in different ways, right? Erekir, it feels like it's an easier thing to do because of how the game is a little bit slower paced.
Yeah.
But Serpulo, you have to be like constantly like on your opponent's like ass, right? Like you got to be watching them constantly, and because of how fast attacks can come. Erekir, just like because I think Erekir is a little bit more strategic, you just kind of take that knowledge and you apply it in a different way. It's like, oh, well, they're making this kind of unit. Well, I need to make this kind of unit. Serpulo is like, oh, they have zeniths. Gotta get swarmers, I guess.
Yeah. Fine.
Right. So Serpulo, it's important to know, but in Erekir, you can apply that knowledge in a wider variety of ways.
Yeah, I mean, Erica's very anticipation. I mean, Erica, it's like unit travel time is such a big factor that you can shut down a hex, and if they have to go around, that can be such a time investment that it's nearly not worth it at times.
Yep.
Which can force stalemates. While on Serp, it's so easy to go around.
Yep. Well, because like it's ground units versus air units.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
It's interesting to see, but we really should, probably call it pretty soon. It's been almost 2 hours.
Well, I'm checking the OBS timer. Let's see what the OBS timer says. It's been an hour 30.
Hour 30. I'm looking at the Discord call timer.
Yeah, we've been in here for a little longer than that.
Yeah, I guess so, but I don't know. Any like closing like remarks? I mean, I know we kind of touched on a few topics today, kind of went on a few tangents.
Do you have any last things you want to say here?
I mean, I think I've touched on everything that I really want to talk about this go around, right? Like, I think I'm gonna try and maybe get back into the game a little bit, see if I can kind of like bring some of that energy back, but we'll see.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely looking at getting back in as well.
Yeah. I think I'd be more interested in playing Erekir rather than Serpulo right now, but
everybody is. Oh, we should teach Erica.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh no.
That'd be so fun.
I don't want to have to organize schematics for 2 planets now.
Oh, it's fine. I do it all the time. I have schematic lists for planets, maps. I've got everything.
Yeah. If I was on my main account, I'd show you how much of a disaster my schematic folder is, but I have muscle memory to remember where each of the schematics is. I don't hotkey. I'm like Laro.
I've been very proud of where my schematics are and how well organized they are. Like, I can pull up 99% of the schematics I need within 2 seconds. If even that.
Okay, I don't think you want to hear about how Varagens does it. He has like 1,000 schematics of just a single router. So he can organize all of his schematics how he wants.
I mean, my
so you just type one thing, one letter, and the only schematics he wants to see. Like if he types S, all silicon schematics. That's all he sees.
That's pretty funny.
Holy shit.
So it takes them
Yeah, I mean,
less time
there's
to figure out which one to do.
Serpulo players are off the chain these days, like going on some crazy shit. But yeah, I mean, I've said everything that I think we need to say this go around. I mean, there's some interesting discussions to be had about certain topics. Of course, I think we are open to really hearing about whatever topics anybody wants us to talk about. But yeah, I mean, next time, mod menu discussion. Let me at them, please. I need to voice my discontent, but yeah, that's all I
I
gotta say.
do plan on getting some guests for the future episodes, which I don't know how often these will come out. The current thought process is probably once every month, but we'll see how much that actually plays out in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm kind of a difficult person to get a hold of at times, so
I can get a hold of you easy.
I mean, I'm a busy guy.
Yeah,
It'll be
but it's
alright.
me.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I know you love me, Taron. It's okay. Everybody does.
Jesus, man.
Look, I learned it from you.
Did you know?
You know it's true.
Yeah, it probably is.
Alright, well.
Yep, that's a good place to call it.
Alright, we'll call it
Thank
here
you,
then.
everyone who's watching here. This is Taron, Drexium, and L.
Signing out.